We're going to talk about how producers in this generation are utilizing, I guess, all the tools in front of them and all the relationships that they can gain towards their branding and how certain things affect their brand. So I appreciate you guys taking the time to share your knowledge with us. So we got two different kind of spectrums here of branding. The guy at the far right is an predominantly online music entrepreneur that kind of dabbles in selling beats online as well as sound kits and all kind of other stuff. So you're going to hear two different perspectives. But Steve, I'm going to start with you, man, and then we'll get to Metro and Sonny and everyone that Rico's worked with. But, I was just talking to Steve on the side here about, the organic emergence of producer OG Parker that I've noticed, especially within the online producer community, how he's been able to, really kind of embrace the online community, collaborate with a lot of young producers. Was that something that you consciously, worked out with him, or was that just something that he kind of brought to the table and said, you know what, I want to really connect with the community and give back?
No, that was all him. That wasn't a strategic thing. It helps, like where we are now with it, but I met him because I used to manage OG Mako. So when we did the deal with QC, Parker came with Mako and Deco through that. So I met him and Deco together, and they were making beats together from the jump. Like they had their separate thing, but they were collaborating in the beginning. So as time went on and I decided to jump into management of producers, that was already there from the jump just with Deco. So then as he started moving along and building relationships with other producers, he knew by shining a light on others and helping others that wouldn't dim his. And he's always been open. That's something he did. And me and my partner Melita, and him and whoever he collaborated, we've all benefited from it. So it wasn't on purpose on our end as far as marketing goes, but hey, we'll take it.
Beautiful, beautiful. So a question I always get from a lot of producers that are always like, at what certain stage do you feel like management plays like a huge role in the development of a producer? And at what point did you jump in to want to start managing OG Parker?
Yeah, so like I said, I was managing Mako, and that was 2014. And Parker, he had a group of producers. I wish he was in here. It was like a group of five that he was a group of five producers. I want to say their name was like the Majors or something. And he asked me like a 6 months or 8 months in to manage Mako. And I was like, look, I can manage artists. Like I felt like I was confident. And I was like, I can do that. But producers, I was like, I can't. I'm not confident that I could be the best manager for you as a producer. So time went on, and like he kept racking up songs with. He came in with Mako, Migos, Rich the Kid, etc. So I started to see more things happening, and with Mako was double XL freshman. We were traveling all over the country. I started building more relationships as well with different labels. So then I started to realize like I have these relationships now to where I can manage you, and I feel like I can put you in certain rooms. So when we started, I came back to him and was like, hey, I don't know if you're still interested, but I'm ready now because I feel like now I have something to offer you. I always believed in his talent, but I didn't want to do it if I couldn't put him in certain rooms or put him with this A&R or this label. And as soon as we started working, K-Camp is a good friend of mine, and I was in the studio recording Parker. He was like, "Yo, what's that?" And I was like, "New producer I'm working with," and I sent him a pack, and that's how the 100 with K-Camp and Fetty Wap happened. That was the first thing me and Parker ever did, and then we've been rocking. Then me and Melita came together, and we just been rocking like that. So I would say, I know a lot of managers say this, don't look for a manager until you have something to be managed. But with me, I wanted to make sure I was the best for him. But because he was looking ASAP, he's like, look, I need a manager. But I waited until I was ready to be the best for him that I felt I was. So that's when, I don't know if that answers the question, but that was my perspective on it.
Definitely. I think also, a lot of that very interesting point when you said that I saw him hanging around OG Mako, and I saw him hang around other artists. I saw him in those circles. When you see a producer that ultimately knows how to gel well within an artist circle and be able to follow through when in the studio, are those some of the personality things that you look for in a producer? Like, okay, this dude is actually, trying to position himself as much as possible to be seen by all the resources that the artist has as well. Is that something that drew you to him? Or because there's a lot of people that you have to like really get to know people before you say, hey, I'm a manager, I'm going to manage you on a day to day, I'm going to be part of your life. Like what are those elements that a producer can take to say, yeah, this is really some of the personality traits that I really appreciated about this guy before I really went into a business venture with him.
One thing, of course, I think all of us are gonna say, be dope. Like if you're not dope, man, I don't care if you're the nicest person, hardest working. I'm not working with no whack shit.
But it's hard to deal with assholes too, though.
Yeah, but I'm saying first of all, like before any, I don't care if he was in there working. If he was whack and still getting them placements, I wouldn't want to work with him. Like I don't care if he gave Quavo a hit. If it was whack, I wasn't gonna work with him because those songs weren't hits that he was making. Not saying on his end, but like they weren't charting. Like I can't barely name the Skipper the Flipper song him and Dico like. I don't know it, but I saw him working, and I thought the music that he was making was good. So, I mean, I saw the work. Like him, like when they came with Mako, and P and Coach told them they can stay in here and work, even though they weren't signed to QC, and they were spending the night 4 nights in QC. I saw that. I was like, oh, so it helped that you was dope first, and then I saw the work ethic. Okay, y'all want this, like. So that was the thing, and the personality. I was around him every day through Mako, so I knew he was a good person and all that. But so yeah, it was just one, he's dope. 2, I saw the work ethic, and I wouldn't have got in business with him if he wasn't a good person. I think same goes for me. I don't, he felt good vibes too. So
amazing, yeah. Well, Rico, man, I think the people need to kind of understand the dynamic and relationship. How just kind of give us a background of how your background, how you got into the role that you play in producers' lives, and man, you're responsible for superstar producers, literally like new icons in the game, and we want to know how you got into it. How did you meet Metro, and how did you get to where you are today?
Wow. I come from Albany, Georgia. I know, right? And I came up to Atlanta, 91 to go to college. Graduated from Morehouse, 95. You want the short, right? Because we don't have that much time.
I don't know. I think people would love to hear the long story.
We'll keep it short. So I started in retail. After I graduated, Mom said you gotta start making money. So I started working at this retail store, Peppermint Music. Met a lot of friends that, Byron was over there with me. Met a lot of people that I had still friends with until this day. So one key I would say glean from that is that like no matter where you're working, always just be cool and be nice to people because you never know who you're going to meet down the line. And even if there's students in class, like your classmate may be the next, Gates or whatever, you never know. So just be cool with those people and try to develop those relationships early because I was just talking to Patrick at lunch. We were saying like it's always, it's good to have a relationship and not need it than to need a relationship and not have it, So just plant those seeds early so you never know who's next. But anyway, so I met, just a short version, I met Block, Russell Spencer. Block had this boy band, Boys in the Hood, Jeezy. I know you would consider them a boy band, but in the true definition of boy band, they were a boy band. He put the group together. It was Jeezy, Jody Breeze, Dookie. It's like, hey, look, I like what you're doing over here at the record store. I want you to work with these guys. So we started working with them. Then, and, Jeezy, you know the story. He left. He blew up one album. Then we're like, freak, what are we gonna do? So this guy, it's like he was goofy then. He came by the studio. Was like, but we can fix this. Had this song. It's going down. We're like, jog, yeah, and put out the record. So made it. So like platinum, 3 times platinum. Went around the world. Gorilla Zoe for 5 years. Then towards the end of my tenure with Zoe, which Patrick signed Gorilla Zoe at Ultra. I was like, I got the itch to want to do something different. So that's when I was like, let me try to work with these producers. So that led me to Sunny Digital because he was doing all the work with Gorilla Zoe. Mm-hmm. But like Racks on Racks hadn't came out. He had did the song, but it hadn't came out. And I was like, I like this. So to Steve's point, like I never clout chased even back then. Like even now, if you notice, like most of my clients, they either their hits or they were working on stuff, but it was just coming out. It hadn't came out. But it's always about what I believe in, how the beats make me feel, how the records make me feel. It's not about like you have this song or you have this or that going on. If I believe in you, I believe in you. So anyway, Sunny led me to like Metro. He led me to D-Rich, B Weezy. So Sunny Digital, I really owe a lot of it to him, So because he had this apartment, 516 over 2 blocks from what you call it, CJ Crickets. It's really JR Crickets. And then so like everybody would be over there, like the Migos, KK, like they would all be over there. And then so some like Metro, like what I was doing with Sonny, Melita would be hanging out over there. And that's what led me to Metro. And then because it was like first it was me and Propane, and then this is just like I said, a short version of it. And then like I started just building with some of the newer other producers, and we just kind of went from there without like hogging up the whole time.
Yeah. So how many years ago would you say was the official kind of establishment of your relationship with you and Metro?
Well, Metro, we met like we like I knew him when he was like at Morehouse, like, but when he like dropped out of Morehouse, he went to stay with Sonny at his apartment. And so like imagine Metro sleeping on the couch, like Q with who did OG Bobby Johnson, he was in the studio room sleeping on the floor, like it's just like crazy. So that was like what 2012 I think 13, yeah, something like around there. Like so it was like right at the, he was already in Atlanta, but and then he had just did like Karate Chop, but it was like I remember him bringing it over, the remix over to the house, and I was like, yo, tell Wayne he had to change that, because I knew what was gonna happen, and he was like, no, when it hit, that whole controversy happened. Yeah.
I guess, I want to get into your mind state because you're managing artists, managing Gorilla Zoe, and producers didn't really have a predominant star power to them at this time, like around this time. I mean, you had a few producers that really held their own, of course, but in this new generation of beats, there wasn't really like a superstar, like a producer kind of leading the charge for the younger beat makers. How did you know to like make the choice to like, I'm going to start managing producers? Like, how did you even think that was going to be first a good money opportunity to make money with producers, because they're not as marketable as artists. They're not. I mean, traditionally they're not, right? Yeah. And then two, it's like it's a whole different dynamic on a day to day on what their services, like what they need and how you're going to service them.
Yeah. I wish I could sit here and say like I'm this genius and I just knew it. I honestly did not know. But what I did know that, and what I do know is that like, and when Melita was talking last night, like when you're working with an artist, artists consume so much of your so much of your bandwidth, like emotionally, spiritually, physically. Like if you do it right, you got to think about it. Like if you do it right, you're gonna be with your artist more than you're gonna be with your family. If you do it right, you know what I'm saying. So like man, Jock, like from 06 to 2008, 2005 to 2007, like he did like 100 plus, like 150 plus shows each year. He made the Forbes list. And so like we were together a long time, a lot. And what I realized about success is that like success can actually be the beginning of the downfall. So if you don't plan, like you have to plan for success too, like so like you don't think about it, but like really like, so we didn't like plan like after what I realized, like after like about 10 days around a person, you start like saying like I really don't want to see this person today, so you have to actually block out days like we're like, look, no, we're not seeing each other today, no studio, no tour dates. Like this is very important, you know what I'm saying? Because they say you have to schedule your fun because the pain is already in there. You just don't know when it's going to happen. So I had to learn how to do that. But anyway, it was like taking so much out of me, like managing artists because they need and demand so much. So I was like, I want to try something different. I want to think about the game different. And I just wanted to do something different. Like I felt like I'm always about what's new and what's next and what's exciting. I'm never just like clout chasing or just say, hey, this is work. This is successful. Let's do that. I'm like, no, what can I do? How can I flip the game on its head? So I was like, by copyright, these producers own 50% of the song. And like what was happening was like, these artists can actually go, these producers can go perform these songs too. Like, but they, like, when I saw the imbalance, like say for example, Sonny did Racks on Racks, right? Mm-hmm. From inception, the record YC was doing shows for like 1,500, 2,000. Sonny standing home with his mom. He's like, I'm like, I can try to get you an advance from BMI. We can try to do a pub deal if you want to do one, if you don't want to do one. So I'm like, this is not fair. And I wanted to like take the game, take the music business, and take it like this, and then dump it upside down and shake it. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, let's go start performing these songs, start DJing. Let's start putting out our own records. Like, remember this time, Rocco was putting out all these future records. He was just putting them up online and just making all the money. I'm like, where's my guy's money? You know, we're like, give me the money. You know, give us. We'll take the songs. We'll put them out. You know. So I just wanted to change it. You know.
And I think you brought up a really good point about the performing part of what you're applying for your clients, right? So when I'm driving through Vegas and I see Metro's name at one of the big clubs he's performing at, or Sonny, whatever it is, you know, this has always been something always reserved for EDM DJs, and I never really understood the concept because I feel like we live in the golden era of beats right now, and people are probably going to hate me for saying that from previous eras. I've been a hip hop fan for a very long time. I feel like right now, with the amount of technology and resources that's available to us, these producers from all over the world are making some of the most incredible fucking music I've ever heard in my life, and so. When you're seeing how kind of like the EDM DJs have been the focal point behind a song, like you'll see some of the biggest EDM DJs travel all over the world, and they'll have, you know, features from like Rihanna, whatever it is, but they're just DJing those big hits that they're making without Rihanna on stage, and they are the draw. Did you feel like the EDM world, was that something you're like, man, we gotta do this for hip hop, because I feel like hip hop is. It's all. I mean, you know, it's like the same concept. You know.
I didn't look at it exactly like that, but what I'm doing, like in Vegas, so I always know, like, so the thing is, like, with the, there was always this fight because, like, it's still coming up, like, so recently, like, now you go to Vegas, you see, like, a lot of hip hop DJs have like residencies, like, you know, Lil Jon had been doing it, Jermaine, but like we're really like, if you go to like Dre's, is like the whole lineup is pretty much urban, so there's always a fight like in there, and I'm like, because I wanted to know, like, we go to some of these shows and I'll take the time to see some of those DJs, and I'm like, okay, sometimes they do really have good production, and sometimes they're just like playing some cool music, but I'm like, look, instead of go seeing like this guy play our guy's records, like you can see the real guy, you can see the guy who made those tracks, who made those hits. He'll be here to play those records. But the true fight is like getting like rapping, having the promoters and those talent buyers wrap their head around paying us what they pay, you know, those guys, you know what I'm saying? So it's still a fight, even though when I tell people like what some of my clients make, they can't believe it, and I'm like, but it pales in comparison to what some of those EDM DJs make, like, you know. So it's still it's a good fight, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like, I do like that motto. I like what they did, and Moxie is great at that. Like, he put out some of those biggest records at Ultra. Like, he put out like a lot of those records, like featuring, and so I definitely like borrowed a little from it, but I wanted to have our own twist to it.
What do you think was the number one? Like, man, like you don't see many producers cross over in popularity like Metro, right? He's been able to capture audiences of people that, you know, 10 years ago weren't really interested in beats and production, but, you know, today, in today's world, with this open source, you know, world of technology, we all know who produced this. We're looking at, you know, different credits. Everyone's putting out their track list every time they drop something, and it gets exciting, and the producer community's retweeting and they're sharing, and everyone's excited about all the you know, all the production that's made on these albums. What do you think is the number one factor to why Metro has like crossed over into, like, you know, not just niche producers knowing who he is, actual all music fans now knowing who he is as like an artist?
I think it was a combination of things, you know, like Steve said, talent, first of all, you know, and then like his work ethic. People can say what they want to say, but I've never seen someone work as hard or harder than Metro. So like when he wins those awards and he gets those, whatever he gets, like you can't say like, oh, this guy doesn't deserve it. Like he busts his butt, like, cause there are times I'm like, yo, I'm out, and then I wake up and he'll still be there, you know, at the studio, literally like spending the night. But I think there was a combination like of things, like there was this perfect storm, like Metro was like, hip hop was rising, you know, not that it wasn't never, but like it's always been there, but like now it's like, you know, it's the most streamed genre. The tag, you know, like the tag, you know, he had multiple tags, but that tag, and then the Kanye moment. So then you had like all this stuff working in concert with along with this talented guy, and then they make the perfect storm, and then it's just like exploded, you know. That's my opinion of how it happened. And then like I see how he navigates these relationships, like, because like it's amazing to see someone like if I'm in a meeting or if I'm doing something on the plane, like I like when I land, I have all these messages and emails, and then I'm like, but how do you navigate like talking and texting to Diddy and Drake and Kanye and you name it? You name it. He's like engaging directly with them, and that's a tribute to be able to navigate those relationships. We were talking about collaborations earlier. It's very important, but like some producers, I give for example Bobby Johnson. Like he made 7-Eleven. That's one of my producers. But he made the beat and he sent it to Detail, and Detail wrote the top line and took it to Beyonce. Beyonce said, "I love this. I'm gonna cut it." He got he got the Betrayed record for Zan. He just sent him the beat. He doesn't want to engage with other artists. He flew over to America. He realized, Rico, I don't like dealing with artists. I don't like going in the studio. I don't like them smoking weed. Not that all artists smoke weed. He doesn't like because around artists, you have to have a certain like, if you don't have studio like decor, like, and you don't know how to engage, like it could go wrong really quickly. Like if you go in there, like you bring an extra person and Gucci Mane walks in, like, who is this dude? You know, it's like this guy could be like out of here, like quick, you know. So he didn't want to engage, so he doesn't want that. So it's what that client wants too. So that's what I realized. It's not for everybody. Some people just want to make their money. They don't even care if you know who they are. They just want to do what they love to do. And so each client is different. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah.
So the common theme that I'm hearing between both you guys here is that you're attracted to the work ethic of both of all your clients, and that's what attracts you to kind of want to work with people, and no clout chasing. Yeah. And then we get into this like these situations with social media sometimes. Like a lot of the kids, man, they grown up with the phone in their hand, and they feel like sometimes the only way to get attention on me is by doing some outlandish shit. Yeah. But your guys have proven that if you work hard, you barely hear Metro. You barely hear these guys' voices. They're very quiet, but they let their resume, work for themselves, and that's kind of how they've created this allure about them. So, is that something both of you guys consciously are like advising your clients? Like, hey guys, not to say your clients have also been vocal about certain things that they believe in and they stand up for, and they'll take to social media to address those things. But do you kind of advise them and say, hey, only really worry about things that's in your control, that you feel like that's a positive impact? Do you guys advise them sometimes on how to handle their socials, or that's just their personalities?
Me personally, because the nature of social media and because me and Will, we have this discussion every day. Like he believes in like trolling, and he likes that. He likes 6ix9ine and all that. I'm like, bro, that's cool or whatever, but man, just make good music, man. Because but I also have to understand the dynamic of like me being like a 46-year-old and like understanding like an 18 or 19-year-old. You see what I'm saying? So I try to have to put all that in a mix and say like, look, and then these kids have emotions, and sometimes they'll rant, and they have that right too. But I just try to like let them be cognizant of like, when you put it out there, it's out there. You know what I'm saying? Even if you take it back, someone probably already screenshot it. But I understand. So it's like I'm more like I consider myself more like the cool uncle versus like the dad approach. I'm like, hey, take that down. I never say that. I was just like, but if you do this, like I'm gonna have to go see like the head of this company, and then we're gonna have to ask. And when they ask, like, and I get that call, and it's like, holy smoke. But like it's just been different situations where it's like, hey, look, if you stand by it, then I'll stand by your right to stand by what you believe in.
Steve, I feel like you kind of contribute to the trolling a little bit.
Hey, I don't troll because I mean what I say. If you follow me, I say what I want. But with Parker, or I manage Quay Global too, and we also have a producer Romano. I don't control their social media, but none of them are really. They ain't gonna say anything wild. But one thing I do try to say or recommend, we with the clients, we have conversations about like how certain people got certain things. And I can't speak for Rico, but I know Metro personally. Metro a cool ass nigga too. Like Metro cool. So like I know that plays in the parts why people want him around all the time. Yeah. Outside of being talented, like I say, he's dope first, but he's cool to be around. In them videos, he really be like when he dance with Future, like he be turned up like that. I've been with him at parties. Like I went to Clark Atlanta when my last year was his freshman year. Like I seen him. So like I know that plays a part. So when we look at some of these people, like these producers who not saying troll, but like they may take social media trying to get the clout when they could be lame in real life. But I know artists will work with them because they got 100,000 followers on Instagram, and they could be corny as hell, but they'll be like, I want to work with that producer. So it's not like I'm watching their social media, but when we have conversations, they be like, how he whack? How he get in with so and so? It may sound like some hating shit, but I'm just saying we human. Like you may just be like, how did I'm this person? Like how did that happen? And we'll just have conversations like, look, bro, he got 100,000. Like he's cool, but we just have those discussions of how certain things happen. I'm not saying Parker or Quay said that. I'm just speaking in general. But I don't gauge social media, but I do have those conversations of how social media may have played into someone getting an opportunity or something like that, or not getting one, etc.
Sure. AD, I know you're sitting over there patiently. But your story is also just as important to me as some of the biggest stars in the world. This guy has been an entrepreneur on the internet for how long? How long, AD?
I've been doing this for like 15 years now, so I guess in this digital era that makes me an OG.
You old ass motherfucker, man. But
I got started in like 2003, back in the days of SoundClick. I don't know if some of you guys maybe remember. Yeah, so I was actually lucky to kind of ride that initial wave of online producers, and I kind of became one of the go-to sources for rappers to find their music online. So I was a part of that movement, and then that eventually translated also into getting placements with people like 50 Cent, Snoop Dogg, Wu-Tang Clan, who are here, of course, as well. And it's funny because, for me, I'm from a small town in Germany, and there wasn't any kind of like a support network. There wasn't a music scene. Like hip-hop wasn't as big as it is over here. So for me to kind of get up and go out there and get my music heard, I had to find new ways to sort of become a self-sustaining entrepreneur. So nothing against what these guys do. I think producer managers are awesome. I think they're necessary. Sometimes I wish I had one. But also, for every producer starting out, at first you're an entrepreneur. And you got to come up on your own. You got to get your own following. You have to grow your own tribe, your own community, find your own artists and whatnot before these guys even take notice. So I guess I'm here on the panel to kind of give like a balanced point of view that you don't necessarily need a manager to come up. You can do it on yourself, or on your own as well. You just got to put in the work. You got to grind. You got to brand yourself correctly. So there's a lot of things that go into it, but definitely, you can come up on your own.
But it also depends on what you want out of it, right? There are certain things that, that these guys and these guys' relationships in the industry is extremely valuable for a producer. But then there's also, like you said, AD, what do you want out of it? Like you said, there's some producers are like reclusive. They don't want to be in a studio. They don't want to do nothing. They're from a small town in Germany, and they want to still do what they love doing, and that's creating content for a global audience. So, AD, I want you've leveraged the internet so much in so many ways, and you've kept this brand on for so long, and you've also ventured into other digital content. What do you think is the number one factor for your growth and your business's growth and how you've been able to expand?
I think consistency is really important. So for me, branding is obviously a part of that too. And there's a couple of different elements to that. There's the story that you want to tell. There's the art, which is also your producer name, your logo, your stuff like that, the way you present yourself, even down to what you dress, your social media. There's the message that you want to convey to your audience. So what do you stand for? And finally, there's the engagement. So that comes at the end. Once you figure out your story, you figure out your art, you figure out your message, then you can translate that into engagement. And for me, kind of combining those elements and kind of staying true to myself as an artist, speaking my artistic truth, kind of helped me to, I guess, have a sustainable career and be a producer even after 15 years still doing it online. Making a good living and all that stuff. So I think just whatever you do, however you want to brand yourself, just make sure you're speaking your own truth. You're not trying to be something that you're not. And then just it's about staying consistent with that message, staying consistent with that story. And yeah,
you're definitely proof that you can leverage the global online audience to develop a business for yourself. For people that don't know about licensing online and collaborating online. And I don't know if you're open to sharing this, but within those 15 years, how much revenue do you feel like you've been able to generate for these people? Or close? or the possibilities at least. Give us some of these guys.
Sure. I mean, I'm on the BeatStars platform. You see my checks every once in a while, but it's a good 6 figures a year easily. I've made over $2 million selling beats just online at this point in 15 years. So it's been good living, and it's kind of it's kind of increased as time goes by, and there's more opportunities, and there's never been more opportunities than there is right now. And there's never been more of a support network for producers to do their own thing. There's sites like BeatStars, obviously. There's just through the internet, it's so much easier nowadays to work directly with the artists, to reach out, to network. I mean, obviously, things like these are great, like A3C, where you actually go out and you meet people. But initially, I think a lot of people make their contacts through the internet, through Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is. You hit people up, you start networking, you start building relationships. And as I said, now is actually the perfect time to be an artist, to be a producer, and to really make it on your own.
Cool, man. Thank you. So I'm gonna come back to these guys. Steve-O, what's next for you, man? Like how are you gonna continue to scale your business? How are you gonna continue to provide value for your clients? Like what is on your brain that you feel like is next for the network of people that you're working with?
Yeah, I did an interview before, and someone asked me, like, what's the end goal? Or, like, how do you know, like, when you not made it, but I guess when success or something like that. And with the music business, to me, like, I just want more. Like, okay, well, you got a platinum selling record. Okay, now I want 2. You got 2, and now I want 5. Like, it can never stop. And I don't know if anybody watched, like, the Quincy Jones documentary recently or know Quincy's history. You should have known before you saw the documentary. But, like, yeah, with him, like, he just doesn't stop. Like, it never stops. And I don't have a necessary just like, this is when I know, like, this is my goal. I want to sell 10 million records, and after that, I'm good. Like, I want to sell infinity amount of records. Like, till I die, I want to sell as many records as I can. Like, that's just, with all my clients, artists, producers, and you want to, like I said, dope. I shouldn't even have to say it anymore. You want the records to be great. Like, you want to make great records. But with that, I want to have the top selling album, top selling single, top selling whatever. And then after that, I want to do it again. So for me, it's just consistently, like you said, consistency. It's just doing it over and over and over and over again.
Right. And I think, Rico, you could probably speak on this too, man. It's like once, you decided to manage someone and they've seen all the success, the pressure's back on you guys now, right? To provide new revenue streams, right? To provide new opportunities. What are you doing on a daily? I'm sure your email box is crazy. Your text messages box is crazy. But what are you doing proactively on a day-to-day to provide more value for your clients, you think?
Yeah, it varies. Like, it depends on the client, obviously. So if the client says, "Hey, look, I want to do X, Y, Z," then I was like, "Okay, cool. Let me help you materialize those goals and aspirations." But if the client says, "Hey, look, I don't want to do nothing this year," then I was like, okay, cool. So each client is different, so, and it's like when I sit with the client or we talk and they say, "Hey, look, this is what I want to achieve," and then I come up with the plan based on what they want to achieve. And I always add my nugget here and there, like, "Hey, look, if there's something you could glean from this," or, "Hey, look, what do you think about this idea?" And sometimes they go for it. A lot of times it's no, 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 no. So you'll never hear about certain ideas or see certain things that come out from, because what happens is if it's really a good idea or a great idea, it'll just pop in someone else's brain eventually, and then they'll come out with it. And I was like, "Oh yeah, I thought of that like 2 years ago." So sometimes that really irks me when I see someone else make something happen that I was like thinking about.
So you guys, say for example, you and Sonny, right? Collectively, if in promotional opportunity or some sort of like ambassador opportunity, he's working with another brand to leverage his audience, how do you guys decide which type of companies or which type of brands that you want to associate yourselves with?
Me personally, I always say do things that are authentic. If you were at like the branding the branding panel yesterday, they had some great points. Like, I would say, like, if you don't smoke, don't do like smoking, don't associate with those brands. Like, do things that would come to you naturally. Like, there was this time when like I think BlackBerry was paying like Britney Spears and Alicia Keys to be like ambassadors, but then they got caught with like iPhones. I'm like, just go do it. Well, I know Apple don't need your but they'll be like, just do a deal with companies and brands that you work with naturally. So I always look at my clients and say, "Oh, you wear fans, or you actually use this platform, you use that, and then we go do deals. Like one of the best was like when Sonny did the thing with Hennessy. Like he loves Hennessy, and it was just like great, and that he likes, some of the guys like Vans. It was like, hey, look, cool. They'll just get the company to send you some. So like don't like just do it for the dollar, because if you do it for that, you'll more than likely you'll make the wrong decision, whether it's a publishing deal, a label deal, or artist deal. I've seen some artists and clients make the wrong decision when it's solely based on money, because you can actually make less on the initial advance, but because of someone like you signed with, I don't know what QC gives, probably millions, whatever, but if you get with those guys, they're killing it now. So you're probably, even though if they say, look, I'm not going to give you this, but I give you this, but then what they're going to put into you is going to make you maybe way more than someone who just gives you this large upfront money but doesn't like really help you add value to you and help you make more money.
Dope. Steve-O, now, what do you do in a situation when one of your producers comes to you and they have a hit record with another artist, and you're like, man, I'm not really a fan of this artist that they have a record with, and how do you deal with the outcome of just producing for people that maybe you guys are not feeling like, okay, this really is associated with our brand, with our image? Has that ever happened before?
Not I hate the artist. It's been songs that have come up that I didn't even know the artist, and the song was cool, and it's just like, oh, all right, like, but it's just nothing. But with producing, see, as an artist, it would have been different. But as a producer, I believe in Parker, and Parker has no control of what they say over the record. So I believe every Parker beat is fire. Like, I'll tell him if some shit whack, but if it's out and we had the nerve to send it out, or he go in the studio, I believe in him that it's dope. But if the song comes out and it's just I don't care, because like your part was dope. Like that ain't got nothing to do with me. If the song overall, like I hope it's a good song, but it doesn't bother me much. And then I know once it's out, you might as well, like, I'm not saying I'm big on social media, but like I'll promote the song. Like Parker produced it. Fuck, like let's get all the streams and shit we can. Let's make, since it's out anyway, ain't no need to trash it to be like, oh, I don't really like him. Fuck, like, no, fuck it. Let's get as much money as we can.
You ever get surprised, like a song that you initially hear, you're like, it's but it turns out to be like a really, really big song? You ever get surprised in those moments?
No, it hasn't happened yet. I'm sure it's the only one. I'll give an example. Parker sold Jamie Ray that 16 beat with NBA Youngboy before even me and Melita started working with him. And it ended up coming, like, he sold it for cheap. You won't get a Parker beat for how cheap he sold it. I'm not telling you how much it was, but like, it's a number that was no way we selling it for that. But like, it's hit top 40 urban. Like, we was like, what the hell? Like, we hit him like, what's this song? He's like, yeah, I sold this beat. Like, we were able to like work out some business on it now because it was so long ago or whatever. But that was just a song that came out of nowhere, and that could be something to producers too. Like that, and Parker said on his panel earlier, like, still work with these upcoming, because you don't know who's gonna blow up. Like now they still gotta go through the business of, if I give something to an unsigned artist or a signed artist that's not popping, don't think you can just put it out. Right. But I may send you 3 beats and be like, hey, I like what you got going. Here you go. But you put it out, our lawyer gonna come for you. And if you just, you know what I'm saying, or if you try to put out through a label, we finna tax you on that back end because you ain't talked to us. So what could have been, you could have got it for 20. Now we finna hit you for 60,000 just because you tried us. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should have put it out first. Now we can
cold
charge
world,
you
bro. It's a cold world.
Whatever. Those aren't real numbers, by the way. Parker B could be 100,000 for all y'all know. I'm just throwing that out there. But yeah, So I mean, yeah, you just gotta play. I haven't run into a song that's just like, oh hell no.
Okay.
I haven't run into that yet.
Let's start right here. You in the red hat.
Okay. My name's Trey, but I go by Traffic Content.
Just stand up real quick.
So my name's Trey. I go by Traffic Content. I'm a producer and an artist, and I'm kind of stuck in this my purgatory because I am a producer and I've been producing for years. You know what I'm saying? Don't have any major, or major placements or anything like that, but mainly because I'm an artist, and I don't like I'm kind of a recluse when it comes to being a producer because I do that. Like, I keep all of my beats in there. I do put some out, but then I'm like, because I am an artist. So I hear them. Some of them I'm like, that's whack. Somebody else comes in, they love it. So how do we separate that from being an artist and a producer? And at what point do you come in and say, you know what? Because like right now, I'm just like, I'm focusing on being an artist.
I'll say one thing and then you guys can add. You have to separate yourself from your product. Like after you're done creating your product, it's just a product. You cannot continue to like fall in love with your product and like think about all the different possibilities of what you're doing right or wrong. You have to just take your creator hat off and put on your entrepreneur hat on and deal with your beats as products after they're done being created and stop falling in love with that shit because that will kill your whole career. But I'll let these guys, chime in.
I think that's where the collaborative process comes in, because sometimes if it's just you, are you just producing and writing and doing everything yourself?
Yeah, we engineer in-house. We everything's done in-house, and I've recently started. So I recently got out of the feds like a year and a half ago.
Welcome home.
Thank you. So from where we're at, last year we had like a quarter of the equipment. Like now we have, we've got preamps from UAD, we've got TLM 103s. We just got, everything to make our jobs easier as artists, as producers, engineers. You see what I'm saying? And so now I'm trying to get through the hubbub of just crash coursing everything into one, because I'm at the point to where I feel like maybe a management, would do me some benefit, even though I don't have no crazy following on my, and everything, all my following and everything is all grassroots. It's not going to pay for, because some people do that, man. They go pay for likes. They go pay for, on followers on Instagram and stuff like that. And so
Well,
everything that I've got is.
Can I jump in? So I think you need to kind of take off your artist hat for a second and put on your business hat, and then really just learn how to market yourself, learn about branding, learn about sales, learn about all the online stuff. You kind of have that mentality that a lot of artists and producers have, which is like, oh, I need a manager, I need a record label, I need someone to like show me the way, I need someone to guide me. But honestly, like the best thing you can do for yourself, never mind about all that stuff, that might come later, but the best thing you can do for yourself is to learn how to do it yourself. And then these guys will take notice in any case.
All right, cool. Next question in the back in the turquoise. As you.
My question, I got two part questions. One for Stilo and one for Rico. Stilo, I'm proud of you. I just seen what you done changed, bro.
Appreciate it, bro.
Everything. My question to you, what is the biggest hit you felt you passed up on? Or what is it, or if y'all have encountered that yet, what is the biggest song you felt you passed up on? And to Rico Brooks, my question to you is, I've been hearing your name since the Gangsta Real era, like back 06 and all that. Like, so I finally put your face to, who you are. What do you feel like between that era of production? Because that was he said it was a solid era of production. Now that we in the golden era, but I mean back then too, you really had Lil Jon, you had a lot of the early, the 808s and the things that were, what we transformed now. So how do you feel that era coincides with this era somewhat?
Managing a producer, I can't really control what goes out. So passing up, I can't say. Now, do I have songs that I think should have been singles, or a song that didn't get released that I think is fire and it should have been released? Yeah, but of course I can't talk about them because they're not out. But I don't know. I can't answer that quick because with artists I can answer, but we're not here for artists. But producer, I can't really say what song I passed up on. But yeah, I wish I could answer you, bro, but I don't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would say like the biggest difference is like the attention that's actually being paid to the producer. So like during that, I mean, you still had your your Swiss Beats, you had your Pharrells. These are like Timbaland's, the humongous, the biggest producers, still some of the biggest in the game. Then you had the introduction of the tag. I remember people don't remember like when David Banner used to produce. I remember when David Banner used to come to the West End Mall and he was like, he had his tag and he was like, now if you, he was like, like they would like the artist would take his tag out of the song, but then he's had this thing of like, if you take it out, that's gonna be $5,000 extra. So he's like, okay, and they were like, we're not trying to build your brand. Like the artist was literally like, forget this producer, we just want it. I remember they took Sonny's tag out of the birthday song, 2 Chainz and Kanye, because they said like it didn't fit like where the song dropped, and And then and sometimes he would just forget to put it in there. I remember when we were doing the video, the Same Damn Time remix video with Diddy. Diddy jumped on it, and and we were like, so when the song drops, the tag drops, Sonny should be right there. And Diddy was like, man, get that out of my way. This is what my part. This is my song. I was like, what? So it's just this struggle. You know what I'm saying? So, but then circle back, right? The artists started realizing, hey, these producers have fans too. So when they start hearing that Mike Will made it, or that Sonny Digital, or that Metro Boomin wants some, they were people, if some people was just if I hear that, okay, I'm gonna listen to the song, at least just to see if it's halfway decent. So then the artists start realizing that these producers actually have fans too. And then newer artists, when they start putting their hands around the new artists and they walk them into the door, and then we realized our real power. We were like, holy smoke, we really can put our hands around the savage and walk him in the door and just be like, okay, you out of here. You know what I'm saying? Put your hand around a artist and just take him up through there.
Cool. Bandana right here.
So I don't know if this is kind of a different question for this kind of area, but I'm really into producers who they just put out beat tapes. I really like knowledge, a lot of people like that, and I'll listen to a whole instrumental album. So do you think that branding is different for producers who don't even really have people rapping over their music? Is it different that way? Is it more of an artist, I guess, at that point?
For me, I just Rico said, if your client wants to do it, then okay. But I don't understand the point. I don't how many people are going to like you? I don't know if there's a lot of people like you. So if you want to do it just to say, hey, I made these beats, I love them, I don't really see an artist rapping on them, here, the public, here you go. But I don't see it being a moneymaker or anything like that. But if a client wants to do it, if you're doing it for fun, you can just do it. But if you want to make money, we have to sit down and think about how it happens. But it's just up to the client. I don't have any real. It's just gotta be somebody wants to do it. If Parker or Quaid just said, Steve, I want to play an instrumental tape, and my first what you expect to happen, what you want to happen, I just feel like putting them out. So anybody gonna grab these rap? Yeah, I just want to. Okay, if that's what you want to do, okay. But then you be like, bro, I want to get this and get some streaming. I want to do something no producer. I want to get a top 40 record with just an instrumental. I'm like, whoa. You tripping, but let's figure out how to make it the biggest. But that's up to them. But I ain't gonna cap. I ain't gonna bring that. I don't want to do that. But if they do, I will figure it out. But I ain't never gonna bring that today. But hey, you may have just sparked somebody in here. May be like, I may do it. So that's if that helps anything. I don't know.
Right there in the corner. Yeah, you. Yep.
Yeah. My name is Jay. Question: as a producer, who should the producer be looking to get in contact with? Should it be an A&R? Should we be looking out for artists? Should it be managers? Who should it be that we should be looking to connect with in order to push our product? I know we try to sell it online, do it a lot of ways, but who's the producer target and get in contact with?
Me personally, I would say all. There's no one way to get in the game. Some people got in through an artist you see how Shawty Red and Jeezy came up in the game together. I was managing this one producer. He was like, man, you my manager. I want to get in the studio with T.I. I was like, who don't want to get in the studio with T.I.? You know what I'm saying? And I was like, get in line. I was like, go find the guy that's next to you and come up with him, or collab with a producer next to you. It's a room full of producers. You never know. Somebody may know somebody that knows somebody. It could be. I seen artists literally. Bobby Johnson, when I saw these European producers, I hustle American producers, I was like, it's no excuse. iBeats, one of my clients, he doesn't speak English, right? He sent me a beat. The beat, I sent it to Oliver. Oliver gave it to Drake. Drake cut Galachester. So I'm like, I don't want to hear no excuses. This man don't even speak English. You go see it. I hustling you. I'm like, there's no excuse. I see artists every day put up bro, I'm in the studio right now. Send the beats. You're like, oh man, I want to get in with them. Sometimes it may work, it may not. I don't know, but I don't have all the answers. But I do know, there's guys that's not even in this country that some of them iBeats had never been to America, but he got songs on Meek Mill album. He got songs. You could say, okay, yeah, Rico, he sent them to you and you sent them out. Yeah, that's true too. But some people have another relationship. So, like I said, I don't know, but I feel like you should be doing all that. But you should not be just sitting around just waiting on saying, I need my moment to happen.
Yo, I want to add something. I'm sorry, AD. one thing you always have to keep in mind with every relationship is, how am I providing value for the person that you're trying to hit up? What void are you trying to fill? Like what is, how are you going to make that person's life easier? And when he's talking about collaborating with another producer, like, these guys are cranking out music all day long. Find out what they need. Maybe you're great at creating samples for them. Just get it. Just give them free shit. Just let them have something to work with. Develop that relationship, and it's not, it doesn't happen overnight, man. But
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that because I can obviously relate, being from Germany and all that.
Yeah.
So when I got my first couple of placements, the way I did it was to actually research not just the artists that I wanted to work with, but all the people surrounding them, like the A&Rs, their entourage, the people around them. And then I would try and get in contact with those people because sometimes they're more approachable than the artists who are probably getting, I don't know, thousands of messages every day. So I did that, and then I would reach out to those people. I'd offer them something for free, again, providing value. Giving them free beats, explaining who I am, what I do, why they should listen to me, and all that stuff. And then it's just about grinding. You need to stay consistent. You need to send out a bunch of messages. Don't expect the first one to hit right away. And eventually someone will take notice. And that's how hopefully you get into the game. You get your foot in.
Yeah, I literally send out beats like every day. People don't know the misses though. Like they don't know. They just like, oh man, you got one on such and such album, but they don't know like how many shots I took to get that hit. You know what I'm saying? They don't know.
Hey, tell them the funny shit is when you send a pack, right?
Yeah.
You send a pack to somebody else, they make the hit,
Yeah.
and that artist come back and say, I want to beat like Walkie Talkie.
Yeah.
It was in there, nigga. Like,
Exactly.
the Walkie Talkie was in there. Like, what you talking, like, what you mean? That's why I'm sending out same beats to every, y'all, until somebody come pay for it, y'all all get to say, because you don't ask for, where BID, where's Pills and Automobiles, where's my dog from Quay?
Yeah.
You got it. Like, stop, stop. They didn't ask for my dog. When
I
Baby
know,
made
right?
my dog, he didn't ask for my dog.
Yeah.
He went in there, got the Quay beat, made it. Now him and Quay making other shit. Like, that is the funniest
But
shit.
the
when
lame
people come
stuff is
back.
when they realize they can start searching. Oh shoot, Metro Boomin beats. I got some of them 2 years, and then they start. I'm like, oh, you lame. You know what I'm saying?
give it away, man. Right here, Red Hat.
Name's Lamont. Really appreciate y'all coming out and speaking to us, man. Definitely some jewels dropped. But I wanted to ask, I always wonder about this, and I get different things from different people. But as a producer, what would you suggest a producer do when it comes to getting their sound out? And in comparison, what I'm talking about is trying to get a placement with a particular artist that's already popping, or actually developing a sound with an artist that's not popping yet, or maybe even a combination of both. What would be your thoughts on that?
I would definitely say both. Me, honest, personally, I would say both. Cause like right now, Parker, they're in a position, like they can actually like what's going on like tomorrow when this Baby and Gunna drop. Like I feel like Turbo is like right there, and like I feel like he's gonna be like he could be in that position. Like take Keith, they can literally put their arms around the next guy that no one's ever heard of and be like, look, I think he's got a chance to be next. So I would do a combination of both. Like you can chase, you know what I'm saying? But I say you never have to chase the ambulance if you're in it. You know what I'm saying? Not that you want to be in it though. You know what I'm saying?
All right, guys, we got one more question left down the middle back there.
My name is Jason. At my best friend Jacob.
Okay.
My question was particularly for AD. I was just wondering, like, how do you continue to grow your customer list? I feel like I've seen you using a lot of, I think, like ClickFunnels and email marketing and stuff. But like, what would you suggest to us for us to kind of get those leads, build the relationship with the customers, get new people to provide leads from us?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, as I said earlier, being a producer in this day and age, you have to be an entrepreneur. You have to think like a business person. So you need to stay current with marketing trends and stuff like that. You know, if the industry is doing email marketing, then you might want to start researching that. If the industry is doing Facebook Messenger marketing, look into that. So a lot of producers, they just kind of see what other producers are doing. They just kind of emulate that. And the market space gets more and more crowded. Everyone's doing the same thing. Everyone's selling like an MP3 license for $19.99 or whatever it is. But my philosophy has always kind of been like, if everyone's moving to the right, I go to the left. I don't like playing the game. I like inventing my own games. So if everyone's licensing their beats, then I might package up my beats and do like you said, like a ClickFunnels sale. Or I might do like a subscription system or something like that. And of course, people take notice. They see you succeeding, and then they crowd in. And as people are crowding in, you just got to keep developing yourself. You got to keep thinking outside the box. So I guess the message is don't just follow the crowd, but actually, think for yourself and try and come up with some creative, unique ways to get your brand out, to grow your customer base.
Thank you, everybody. Please give these wonderful gentlemen a round of applause. Appreciate your time, your knowledge. Enjoy the rest of your A3C, everybody. Thank you.